Jeff's Wonderland. Wonderland. Greetings and salutations, Wonderlanders. And I say Wonderlanders because, as far as I'm concerned, if you're here listening to this podcast, you have automatically become an honorary Wonderlander, which is, of course, a much sought-after status in the podcasting world. Probably. Maybe. And look, frankly, if it isn't, it certainly should be. Anyway, my name is Jeff. I'm a musician, singer-songwriter, comedian, observer of life, lover of good coffee, and doer of things. And in the next 11 minutes or so, you will be treated to some of my recent theories, music, musings, and thoughts, all carefully arranged for your entertainment and education. Or something like that. This is, by the way, episode 29, or if you like, season 2, episode 9. And that means we are almost halfway through the second season. And they said it wouldn't last. Some of them actually said it shouldn't last, but, well, I've had those people taken care of. Now, before I forget, I want to send a shout out to those of you who have sent me messages, emails, and comments about the show. So keep them coming, and if you've got a thought or a theory that you think you would like me to cover here on The Wonderland, please drop me a line on jeffswonderland@yahoo.com or to my website, which is www.jeffhealy.com, and I'll see what I can do. So let's get straight on with the show, everyone. And what better way to do that than launching ourselves right into the legendary Theory Time.
Yo,
You can't know what you
can't know.
I'm going to tell you what I think I know.
No,
I don't know what I know.
this is what I know.
Theory Time. And welcome back to Theory Time. I briefly mentioned in the last episode, I think, that I'm not by nature a very patient person, but that I am simply quite good at hiding the fact that I'm impatient. So today, I thought about that a little bit more, and I think that, strange as it might seem, social media technology has actually helped me to become more patient. It would be easy to equate impatience, of course, with one arguably negative symptom of social media, namely the shortened attention span. But, you know, on reflection, these two things don't seem to be as related as one might think. I've always prided myself on answering messages and phone calls and emails and letters as soon as humanly possible, mostly as a matter of courtesy, but maybe also because I knew that if I didn't answer them there and then, I would probably completely forget to do so. Because my memory is rubbish for pretty much anything except music and comedy, and always has been. Anyway, the problem with my self-imposed discipline to answering any type of correspondence immediately was that it also instilled in me some kind of expectation that everybody else should and could and therefore would do the same thing. And then along came social media. And of course, I was suddenly in for a world of serious disappointment. See, as a travelling professional musician, I do have quite a bit of downtime between gigs, you know, and so when somebody pointed this out to me not all that long ago, in a blinding and very embarrassing flash of realisation, I suddenly understood that just because it's called instant messaging, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's also instant answering. So I've now come to the realisation that even with a million instant text messaging and chat platforms available to us, not everybody is in a position to answer messages as quickly as I might be able to, or as quickly as I might like them to. And also that each person's daily life is made up of different stuff and different scheduling, if you like. And so there's no way that we can really know what's actually going on at their end. And therefore, when anyone says something like, "I can't understand why so-and-so wasn't able to do such and such," they are in fact providing themselves with the answer, and that is no. they really can't understand because they're not in that person's shoes. So there you have it, folks. Another Wonderland revelation. I just wish the next one would bloody well hurry up and get here.
This is what I know. Theory time.
Yes, and that was Theory Time. And those of you who are impatient for some musical relief need wait no longer, because we have now arrived at Song of the Day. Now, this little number would have to qualify as one of the most positive up songs that I've ever done, and I've done a few. It was recorded for the Love in a Suit album in Australia back in 1999. It's got a guitar solo, it's got a saxophone solo, it's got all the bells and whistles. So, here is one of the happiest of my happies, and it's a little song called So Bad.
Look in the mirror and I like what I see. This is the person that I wanted to be. Looked out the window and I saw what I had. I guess everything hasn't turned out so bad.
I think living in Australia at that point, near the beach and lots of sunshine, really kind of helped me to write a song like this.
TV, but I don't watch the news, 'cause I don't believe everything can be so bad. I've seen everything I wanna see and everyone I wanna be, and every place I wanna go, know everything I wanna know. I'm happy with the simple things. So if you tell me what song I hear to sing, well, is it so bad? Is it really so bad?
Yes, I think that's probably one of the sunniest, most optimistic pieces of music that I've ever created. And take a listen to the rest of the song if you like. It's on Spotify, it's on iTunes, it's on Google Play, it's on Amazon, you name it, it's there, along with all my other creations. That's as much as we're going to hear for the moment, though, because the time has come where we have to get serious, not be quite so happy, and put our thinking caps on for
Jeff's Thought of the Day.
I was thinking about something, I think it was the thought of the day. I think it was the thought of the day.
And welcome to Jeff's Thought of the Day. Now, I think I've mentioned before that politics and religion are not subjects for the Wonderland, and neither is, for that matter, sex or toilet humour. Not that those aren't popular subjects, but I kind of think they generally get more than enough coverage in the other forums. Having said that, I do want to talk a little bit today about politics, at least in a very general sense, in that most countries have one person at the top, thus allowing one person to decide important stuff and take responsibility, hopefully, for big decisions, and usually hold a great deal of power for years at a time. I think we can all agree that this is yet another human idea which, with the benefit of thousands of years of hindsight/experience, is beginning to look a bit silly. The thing is, having one man or one woman as the head of government makes sense in terms of representation, as in, if one country has issues with another country, then the powers that be in the first country need to know who's at the top of the tree in the second country and where the buck supposedly stops. It's often said that democracy isn't perfect, but is still the best system we've got, even with all the flaws that it inherently contains. A cornerstone, of course, of any democratic system is having other levels of authority then, such as a House of Parliament, a Senate, a Congress, a committee, or something similar that has the power to block or approve a decision from a country's leader, depending on how idiotic that decision is. Of course, even in a democracy, bad decisions still get through, as we all know, and that's because of the way the system's organised, the complexities of constitutional law, and mostly the fallibility, stupidity, and corruptibility of human beings in general. In other words, folks, we can't do it properly because we suck. Look, I personally think the Achilles heel of pretty much every political system on earth ever devised is human involvement. And that if you were to take humans out of the equation, a lot of political constructs, which we currently see as failing, would work extremely well. But here's the problem with having any autocratic system, like a dictatorship, or in some cases having someone as head of a democratic country who insists on calling as many of the shots as he or she possibly can, whether or not he or she knows what he or she is actually doing. The fact is, and I have touched on this before in a previous episode, politics is hard. It's really, really difficult. Particularly, at a national or international level. Look, there are so many issues that need to be considered when decisions have to be made affecting the lives of millions of people in all sorts of different ways, and there's no way that any one person could possibly have the necessary skills/knowledge to effectively deal with every issue in the best and most effective and beneficial way for all concerned. It simply can't be done. Not by a human being, anyway. And as for removing humans from politics, well, obviously that's not going to happen. Not in our lifetime, anyway. And so we can really only hope that autocracies, authoritarian regimes, and dictatorships can be kind of kept to an absolute minimum. Because situations where one person who wants all the power becomes a head of state always end badly. And getting him to take some kind of oath of office isn't likely to help much either. It's kind of like giving a bored 6-year-old a flamethrower and saying to him, "Now you be careful with that."
I think it was the thought of the day.
And yes, that was thought of the day, and I hope most of you managed to avoid the third-degree burns there. So, that's it for our tour of the Wonderland. Thanks for joining me, everyone, and if you enjoyed the show, please leave a comment if you can, and don't forget to hit the subscribe or follow button for the show on whatever podcast platform you're using, of course, if you haven't already done so. As for me, well, that coffee machine is calling, so take care of yourselves, drink lots of water, don't eat mouldy cheese, and I look forward to seeing all of you back here bright and early next week for another stupefying but strangely uplifting voyage through the canyons and the caverns of my Wonderland.